the tiny crowned girl who was chosen by the Illuminati. The human colony of Grey Hollow floated quietly near the edge of known space. It was built around an old asteroid and powered by machines so old that no one remembered who first turned them on. Most people there lived simple lives. They worked, ate, slept, and hoped the stars would leave them alone. For many years nothing important ever happened in Grey Hollow, until the girl with the crown was noticed. She was very small for her age, thin and light with dark eyes that always seemed to look farther than they should. People called her Luma because she liked the station lights and would sit under them for hours. No one knew where she came from. One day she was simply there, living in a narrow metal room near the lower decks with an old caretaker named Iran. The strange thing was the crown. It rested gently on Luma's head, made of dull silver metal shaped like thin leaves. It was not heavy. It did not shine. It never slipped or fell. When asked about it, Luma always said the same simple words. "It was always mine." No one argued with her. In a place like Grey Hollow, people learn not to ask too many questions. Iran had tried many times to remove the crown, not to take it, but just to clean Luma's hair. Every time his fingers came close, the air would feel tight and warm, and his hands would stop moving, as if the space itself told him no. He stopped trying after that. Luma never went to school like other children. The station teachers said she distracted the systems. Lights flickered when she entered a room. Screens showed old symbols instead of letters. Doors opened before she touched them. So she stayed near the lower decks, walking the quiet paths, humming soft sounds that no one recognized. Deep under the station, far below where humans lived, ancient machines listened. They had been silent for centuries. Their purpose was forgotten. Their language was older than the colony, older than most of space travel. When Luma walked above them, the machines felt something they had not felt in a very long time. Recognition. One cycle while the colony slept, the crown warmed slightly. Luma woke up and sat straight in her bed. Her eyes were open, but she was not afraid. She spoke softly, words flowing from her mouth like a song. The walls around her vibrated. Far away beyond Grey Hollow, something else woke up. In a hidden sector of space, where stars were massed and signals bent away from normal paths, a group of watchers stared at their screens in shock. They called themselves the Illuminati. Though no one outside their circle had spoken that name for hundreds of years, their entire purpose was to watch. They believed humans were dangerous when united, powerful when aware, and unstoppable when guided by belief instead of fear. Long ago, they decided humanity must never rule the stars again. They erased records, buried fleets, and hid truths. They became shadows. Now, one of their oldest sensors screamed to life. A symbol appeared on the main screen. Simple, clear. Impossible! A royal activation code. That code was destroyed, one watcher said, his voice shaking. It cannot activate by itself, another replied. The screen changed again, showing a faint signal coming from the edge of mapped space. Grey Hollow. The room fell silent. That colony is insignificant, the leader said slowly. No advanced weapons, no command centers. Then why is the crown awake? Someone whispered. The Illuminati searched deeper, breaking rules they had followed for generations. They accessed sealed files, records marked never to be opened again. The truth appeared piece by piece. The crown was not a symbol of rule. It was a key, not just to machines, but to memory.
Back in Grey Hollow, alarms suddenly echoed through the lower decks.
Red lights flashed, then turned white, then faded away. People woke in confusion. Doors locked and unlocked on their own. Gravity shifted for 1 second, then returned to normal. Luma stood in the corridor, barefoot, the crown now faintly glowing. Iran ran toward her, fear clear on his face. "Luma, come back inside," he said. "Something is wrong." She looked at him calmly. "It is right," she answered. Before he could speak again, a deep hum filled the station. Not loud, but powerful. It felt like a giant breathing slowly. Above Grey Hollow, space itself seemed to ripple. A hidden platform unfolded near the colony, dark and silent. No lights, no markings. A ship the size of a city block appeared as if it had always been there.
The Illuminati had arrived. They did not announce themselves.
They did not ask permission. They sent watchers instead. Small drones slipped into the station through old maintenance tunnels. They scanned every human, every system, until they found her.
Booma!
The Crown reacted instantly. The drones stopped moving. Their systems shut down as if they had reached the end of their purpose. In the hidden ship, panic spread.
"She is blocking us," a watcher said.
"She does not even know what she is doing. Or she knows exactly," another replied. The leader clenched his hands. "Prepare containment. We cannot let her stay here." At the same time, something else noticed the signal. Far across space, an alien scout ship drifted near a dead star. Its sensors caught the same pulse. Ancient. Human. Powerful. The aliens had fought humans long ago and barely survived. They remembered the stories. They sent a warning to their leaders. "The old humans are waking." Back on Grey Hollow, Luma walked toward the central lift. People stepped aside without knowing why. Some felt calm, others felt fear. All felt something change. She placed her small hand on the lift door. It opened, though power to that section had been dead for years. Deep below, the ancient machines fully awakened. Spoke into his blood, not spoken aloud but felt inside the walls. Crown Bearer confirmed. Luma closed her eyes and smiled. Above the colony, the Illuminati ship powered its weapons for the first time in centuries. They believed they were still in control. They were wrong. The Illuminati had not seen anything like her. From their dark ship above Grey Hollow, the small girl with the crown moved through the colony like she belonged to a world that had long been forgotten. Their drones had tried to scan her again and again, but every approach failed. The crown's subtle glow blocked their instruments, reflecting signals back in patterns that even the most advanced sensors could not decode. The watchers were frustrated. They whispered to one another, using codes meant to hide their panic, but it was clear. Humanity in the shape of a tiny girl had done what their centuries of control could not. The station below, which had once been silent and empty in its lower decks, now hummed with energy. Old machinery, long buried in the deepest levels, stirred awake as if the crown had called to it. Doors opened before anyone touched them. Lights flickered in sequences that seemed like messages. Luma walked through the halls without fear. The people of Grey Hollow watched her with quiet awe, sensing that something extraordinary had awakened. Aaron followed, still unsure if he was protecting her or simply keeping pace with fate itself. Meanwhile, the Illuminati's leaders argued in the control room. "We cannot allow this to continue," said one, his voice cold but tight with unease. "If she activates even a fraction of what the Crown is capable of, humans across the system will wake. We will have no control, no containment. And the aliens, they will respond immediately." Another whispered, almost to himself, "Containment is impossible. We underestimated her. She is not just a girl. She is a signal." A command. Outside, alien sensors had already picked up the Crown's pulse. A small fleet of scouts approached from a neighboring star system. Their ships were long and thin, built for speed and stealth. They communicated silently, using waves that humans had long forgotten how to intercept. The aliens remembered humans from old wars, ruthless, cunning, unstoppable once united. The awakening of this girl, they realized, was a danger they could not ignore. Back on Grey Hollow, Luma touched a wall of metal that no one had entered for decades. Her fingers pressed against a control panel hidden under dust and rust. The Crown responded with a warm pulse, and the panel lit up. Ancient machinery, designed for defense and exploration, activated with a soft hum. Holographic maps appeared, showing distant stars, systems humans had never reached, and weapons long deactivated. Luma did not know how to read them, yet she understood instinctively. Her mind moved in patterns the Illuminati had thought only machines could handle. Aaron watched her in disbelief. "Luma, what are you doing?"
"I am answering them,"
she said softly, as if speaking to someone invisible. "They are waiting." Her voice carried a strange calm that seemed to fill the room. Lights on the far walls pulsed in rhythm with her words. The colony's people felt the vibrations through their feet and their hearts. Fear melted into a quiet curiosity. Even the most stubborn adults could not look away. Above, the Illuminati watched as small autonomous human drones began moving through the station. They carried no weapons, yet their presence was enough to disrupt the alien scouts that had begun scanning the colony from orbit. One by one, the alien devices began to fail. Screens went blank. Ships slowed. Engines flickered as if space itself refused to allow their invasion. The observers on the Illuminati ship realized the truth. The crown was not just a key, it was a shield. The girl had not yet left the lower decks, yet her power spread like roots through the colony. People who had felt hopeless for generations began to stir with energy. Workers who had been tired and resigned suddenly moved faster. Engineers who had not solved a single technical problem in months began fixing machines effortlessly. It was subtle, but unmistakable. The awakening was spreading. Aaron tried to convince Luma to leave the station with him, to hide. "They're coming," he said. "The aliens, the Illuminati. They will take you if they can. We need to leave." Luma shook her head. "No, they must see. They must know." A hum filled the air, deeper and louder than the machines themselves. The crown glowed brighter, and the walls seemed to breathe. The Illuminati's sensors recorded the pulse, but they could not decipher its meaning. Every attempt to lock down the colony failed. The girl was always one step ahead, not because she knew, but because she belonged. Then, from the shadows of the upper decks, a new figure appeared. A man dressed in dark clothing, his face partially hidden by a hood, watched Luma. He had been sent by a faction of the Illuminati who believed the girl could be guided instead of destroyed. His mission was dangerous, for his peers would consider him a traitor. He observed quietly as Luma approached a long corridor leading to the colony's power core. The girl's small hand rested on the door's metal edge, and the crown shone like a heartbeat. "It is time," she said, and the door opened. Inside, the hidden machines waited, silent for decades. Panels glowed, gears turned, and a soft wind of energy passed through the chamber as if it had been waiting for her touch. The man in the hood stepped closer. "She is real," he whispered, "and she is awake." Outside the colony, alien ships adjusted their approach. They were no longer cautious. They had seen the signal, the movement of the ancient machines, and they knew the humans were no longer simple. They were watching. One of their smaller scouts fired a warning flare, but the humans did not see it as a threat. The crown had already blocked detection. Inside, the girl began moving through the chamber. Panels lit up with sequences of light and sound, all responding to her touch. She did not speak any of the languages she had never learned. Still, every machine, every system, every network responded. It was as if the crown connected her mind to the ancient knowledge embedded in the colony's bones. Iron followed closely, trying to understand the scale of what was happening. "I don't understand," he said, his voice trembling. "She's just a child. How is she doing this?" "She is not just a child," the hooded man replied. "She is the key to everything humanity lost. If we fail to protect her, all will be lost." Then, alarms rang through the chamber. A low metallic roar echoed from the colony's outer walls. Alien scouts had finally breached the outer defense layer, but they were stunned. The walls themselves seemed alive, shifting and moving in patterns no one had designed. Human weapons, long thought useless, fired automatically, disabling the alien craft without human intervention. The Illuminati watched from above, horrified. "She is controlling the defenses," one said. "Not the machines. They are listening to her." Luma felt nothing but calm. The crown pulsed, and she knew every hidden system in the colony. She did not need instructions. She did not need guidance. The colony itself responded to her presence. For the first time, Aaron felt both fear and awe. "The galaxy will notice this," he said softly. "Yes," Luma replied. "And they will not forget." The hooded man took a step closer, careful not to break the connection. They will come, he warned. The aliens and the rest of the Illuminati. They will not allow this.
They cannot stop it, Luma said simply.
They never could. Outside, more alien scouts arrived, but their movements were slower, hesitant. They could feel the pulse of something vast, something ancient. They had fought humans before and remembered the stories. Now, they realized that the humans had not only survived, they had grown beyond memory. Inside the chamber, Luma walked to the central control console, a round platform covered in glowing symbols.
She placed both hands on it. The crown blazed brightly, and the entire colony seemed to shift.
Lights pulsed in harmony, and the hum of ancient machines filled every corner. For a moment, the colony felt alive, aware, and united under her presence. Erin and the hooded man exchanged glances. Neither had expected to witness anything like this. Both knew the galaxy would change forever because of a small girl wearing a simple crown. The aliens fired again, attempting to break through the energy field surrounding the colony. But the shots fizzled before reaching the walls. The crown's pulse had created a shield that was not just physical. It was connected to the mind of the colony itself. Luma closed her eyes, breathing slowly. She did not speak any words. She only allowed the crown to act, and the ancient machines obeyed, awakening fully after centuries of silence. The hooded man watched, realizing that no one, not even the Illuminati, could now control her. She had awakened something far older than any empire, something that belonged to humanity alone. Iren stepped back, a tear forming in his eye. "She is humanity's hope," he said. "Yes," the hooded man whispered. "And perhaps it's warning." Outside the colony, alien commanders called off their initial attack. They had underestimated the humans. They had thought the colony was weak. Now they knew it was stronger than they could imagine. One scout transmitted a warning. Humanity was waking, and the tiny crowned girl had become the signal that could not be ignored. Back inside, Luma removed her hands from the console and looked at the hooded man. "They will not give up," she said simply. "We must move," he nodded. "Then we leave before they arrive. But where can a child lead a galaxy?" Luma smiled faintly. "Not I. We." And with that, the crown's pulse began to stretch beyond Grey Hollow, reaching distant colonies, hidden machines, and even the ships of alien fleets. The girl had begun the awakening. Humanity would never be the same again, and the Illuminati realized too late that the age of control was over. The first battle had already begun, though no one had fired a single shot. The colony of Grey Hollow had never felt so alive. Machines, long silent, moved with purpose. Corridors glowed with energy, and the walls seemed to hum with the pulse of the crown. Luma walked calmly through the lower decks, her small feet barely making a sound. Her eyes were wide but not in fear. They shone with understanding. Every step she took carried more weight than any human could imagine. Iren followed her, careful not to disturb the delicate balance. He had spent hours trying to comprehend what the crown had done. Humans across the colony were changing too. Simple workers were suddenly solving technical problems no one had understood for decades. Children who had never cared for science or math began experimenting with devices, guided by the faint pulse that emanated from the crown. The power was spreading, not like a weapon, but like a quiet awakening. The hooded man stayed close behind, his eyes alert. He had once served the Illuminati faithfully, but now he wondered if his loyalty had been misplaced. He had been sent to observe Luma, to guide her if necessary, but guidance was not needed. The girl knew instinctively what she had to do. Every movement she made sent instructions to the hidden machines. Every thought directed the colony's systems with precision. A low hum rose from the deepest chambers of the station. Luma paused, listening. She placed her hand gently on the console embedded in the wall. Symbols lit up beneath her fingers, glowing with a color no human had ever seen before. The crown pulsed brighter. The hum grew into a rhythm that echoed through the entire colony. "They are coming," Iren whispered. Luma did not look afraid. "Let them," she said softly. They will learn. Above the station, alien scouts lingered cautiously, sensing the unusual energy coming from Grey Hollow. More ships arrived, moving in formation, sleek and black against the stars. They had fought humans before and thought they understood them. Now they realized they did not. Something had changed. Humanity was no longer weak. On the colony's main platform, Luma approached a set of long-forgotten vehicles, ancient crafts buried for centuries. They had been abandoned during the Great Human Wars and left to decay. Yet when the Crown's pulse touched them, engines hummed to life, shields rose, and control systems awakened. The crafts were ready, waiting for someone who could command them. And Luma did, though she did not know how. The hooded man stepped closer. "This is more than defense," he said quietly. "She is awakening the fleet." "I do not understand it either," Iran said. "How can a child do this?" "She is not just a child," the hooded man replied. "She is the key to all humans have lost. We cannot stop what is happening, but we can follow her." Suddenly the station trembled. Outside, an alien scout fired on the colony. The shot hit the hull, but it barely scratched the surface. Lights flared, systems shifted, and then, almost silently, the alien craft froze in place. Its engines shut down. Panels flickered and then went dark. A single pulse from the Crown had reached across the vacuum of space and neutralized a ship built to destroy humanity. The aliens panicked. Their fleets had never encountered anything like this. One commander sent a warning back to their home system. "The humans are not what we thought. The Crown, it is a weapon, but also a shield. It is alive." Inside the colony, Luma walked past the control rooms where humans now worked instinctively on machines. They did not follow her orders, yet their movements aligned perfectly with her thoughts. Every action she made resonated with the colony. Every pulse from the Crown directed them. She was small, but the colony itself had become her army. Aaron watched as the humans moved, understanding for the first time that the Crown was not about power or control. It was about awakening potential. Humans could never be ruled by force alone. They needed to remember who they were, and Luma was showing them the way. The hooded man approached cautiously. "They will attack again," he said. "And this time they will bring more ships." "They cannot," Luma said. Her voice was soft but firm. "Not until they understand." Below the station, the ancient machines began to hum louder, almost like voices. Symbols appeared on walls, floors, and ceilings. Light moved in patterns too complex for ordinary human eyes, yet somehow the humans understood it. They worked together, repairing systems, activating long-lost devices, and connecting networks that had been dormant for centuries. Grey Hollow was no longer just a colony. It was a living hub of human power. From the observation deck above, the Illuminati watched in disbelief. "We thought she would be a symbol we could control," one said bitterly. "Instead, she controls everything. The machines, the humans, even the aliens are afraid." Another shook his head. "We underestimated humanity. We thought they were weak, divided, small. But look at them now. All because of a child." Outside, the alien fleets adjusted their strategy. They moved carefully, trying not to trigger the full power of the Crown. Scouts were sent to probe for weaknesses, but every probe failed. Signals from the Crown disrupted their sensors, weapons misfired. Even communication between ships became erratic. Humanity was not just surviving, it was asserting dominance in a way the galaxy had never seen before. Inside Grey Hollow, Luma led the hooded man and Aaron to the central chamber, where the Crown seemed strongest. Panels lit up beneath her fingers, showing images of human worlds far across space, ancient star maps, and hidden defense networks. It was more than a colony. It was a network, waiting for a leader. "Can she reach them all?" Aaron asked. "She already is," the hooded man said. "The Crown connects her to all humans, even those who do not know they are awake. This is not just a battle for Grey Hollow. It is a battle for the future of humanity." Luma placed both hands on the console, and the Crown flared with bright light. A pulse shot outward, faster than the speed of any known signal. Across the stars, human outposts, hidden colonies, and old fleets felt it. Systems long thought lost came alive. Humans everywhere felt the change, as if a memory had returned that they did not know they had. Aaron stepped back, overwhelmed. "This is impossible," he whispered. "It is happening," Luma said, her eyes calm. "They cannot stop what has begun." Suddenly, the station shuddered. A large alien ship emerged from the shadows, moving faster than any scouts before. It fired its main weapon, and the colony's walls shook. Humans scattered, but Luma did not move. The crown pulsed brighter, and the alien attack stopped in midair. The weapon froze, its energy dissipating harmlessly. Even the alien crew felt the crown's power, though they could not see it. The hooded man looked at Iran. "She is more than a key. She is the awakening itself." "Yes," Iran said quietly. "And now everyone will come for her. Not just the aliens, not just the Illuminati. Everyone." Luma did not flinch. She walked calmly to the observation deck, looking at the stars. Her small frame seemed insignificant against the vast galaxy, yet the crown made her presence felt everywhere. "Let them come," she said. "They will learn who humans are." At that moment, another pulse rippled through the colony. It was not just a signal or a shield. It was a call. Humans across distant colonies felt it, and some even acted instinctively, moving toward the nearest shipyards or activating hidden weapons. The awakening had begun beyond Grey Hollow. Humanity was no longer quiet or hidden. It was stirring, and it would not stop. Iran placed a hand on her shoulder. "You are doing something no one ever imagined," he said.
"I am not doing it alone," Luma replied. "They do it themselves."
"I only remind them who they are." The hooded man nodded slowly. "And now the galaxy knows. Humans will rise, and they will not be ignored." Above, the Illuminati scrambled. Their ships moved closer, trying to contain the situation. Orders were shouted. Commands were ignored. Systems failed. The Crown had already blocked their control. Every attempt to intervene only strengthened the colony's defenses. The alien fleets hesitated, unsure of their next move. The Crown had shown them a glimpse of human power that they could not overcome. Every scout they sent was neutralized, every signal disrupted. Fear rippled through the ranks of commanders who had once considered humans a minor threat. Inside the central chamber, Luma placed her hand on the console once more. Light spread from the Crown to every corner of the room, connecting every human, every machine, and every hidden system. She did not speak aloud. She did not need to. The colony acted as one. Grey Hollow was awake. Humans were awake. And the galaxy had no choice but to notice. Aaron looked at her in awe. "This is only the beginning, isn't it?" "Yes," she said softly. "But they will not forget us again." Outside, the alien fleets began to retreat, but they were not gone. They would return. And the Illuminati, now aware that humanity was more than a memory, would also act. But for the first time in centuries, humans were not afraid. They had remembered who they were. And at the heart of it all, a tiny girl with a simple crown smiled, calm and quiet, ready for whatever came next. The awakening had begun. Humanity would rise not because of war or fear, but because one child reminded them of the strength they had forgotten. The stars themselves seemed to shift, as if the universe acknowledged a power that had been hidden for too long. Luma's small frame moved through the corridors, her crown glowing softly, signaling the next step in humanity's return. No one could stop it. No one could predict it. And the galaxy would soon learn that humans, even small and unassuming, could shape the destiny of the stars. The pulse of the Crown reached out farther than anyone imagined. Systems beyond Grey Hollow reacted. Long-forgotten fleets stirred in deep space. Ancient defense networks activated. Every corner of human space felt the call, And somewhere, far beyond sight, other humans began awakening in ways that even Luma could not see. It was only the beginning. Grey Hollow had never felt so alive. The colony's corridors buzzed with energy as humans moved instinctively, repairing machines, activating old systems, and preparing for something no one could fully explain. Luma walked among them, small and calm, her crown glowing faintly, casting soft light that seemed to awaken everyone nearby. People felt stronger, smarter, braver, and somehow connected to each other. Even those who had been timid or sick now walked with purpose. Iran followed her closely, still unsure of how a single child could change so much. "It is amazing," he whispered. "All of them moving as one. But why her? Why does she do this?" "She does not do it," the hooded man said softly. "She reminds them, that is all. Humans needed to remember who they are. She only opens the door." Outside, alien fleets had regrouped. Their scouts had returned to report, trembling from what they had witnessed. They could not understand the crown, the colony, or the strange pulse that had frozen their weapons. Yet they had learned one truth clearly. Humans were no longer simple prey. They were awakening. One fleet commander hissed through his communicator. "Do you see? This is not a colony. It is a fortress. The child controls it all. We must retreat and report to the council." Another vessel disagreed. "Retreat will not save us. We must destroy the source before it spreads further. If the humans unite, the galaxy is lost." Back inside Grey Hollow, Luma had moved to the central hub. Ancient machines whirred to life at her presence. Hidden panels rose from the floor, showing maps of distant stars, abandoned colonies, and long-lost human fleets. She did not know the history of all these systems, yet she understood what each one could do. The crown connected her mind to every device, every network, every hidden weapon built centuries ago. Iran looked at her in awe. "They are waiting," he said. "The aliens, they will attack again, and they will bring more ships." "They will not succeed," Luma replied calmly. "They cannot see what is already awake." The hooded man watched carefully. "She does not even need to speak," he murmured. "Everything responds to her. Every human, every machine, even the aliens are afraid." Suddenly the station trembled. The outer walls glowed as energy shields rose automatically. Alien scouts had returned, testing the colony again. Their weapons fired, but the pulse of the crown reached out farther than they realized. The shots fizzled in midair, harmlessly dissipating. Systems the aliens thought destroyed centuries ago now worked perfectly, guided by Luma's crown. Across the colony, humans began moving toward the docking bays, instinctively boarding ships long hidden or abandoned. Luma's presence made them act as if they had trained their entire lives for this moment, yet they had not. The crown guided them. Not as a ruler commanding them, but as a reminder of the power they had forgotten. Iran ran after her, seeing the humans work together as if connected by invisible threads. "I have never seen anything like this," he said. "Even the adults, they understand without words." "They are awake," the hooded man said quietly. That is all. Above Grey Hollow, the Illuminati had split into two factions. One side demanded containment, trying to find a way to capture the girl and stop her influence. The other side argued they should follow her, observe her, and learn. Both sides feared losing control, but neither could act fast enough. Every action they tried failed. The crown blocked sensors, scrambled signals, and even interfered with their communications. Luma had become untouchable. Outside the colony, alien scouts withdrew, reporting confusion and fear. Their fleet commanders argued, unsure of what to do. "They are more organized than we imagined," one said. "Even though they are few, they fight as one. And that crown, it changes everything." Back inside, Luma approached the largest docking bay. Hidden ships rose from beneath layers of dust and decay. Engines roared softly as they came online, responding to her presence. Humans boarded them without hesitation. Some were old mechanics, some were young engineers, and some were children too, but all moved as if they had trained together for years. The crown connected them all, guiding their movements perfectly. Iran watched, amazed.
"She is awakening a fleet," he whispered.
"A real fleet, ready to fight."
"Yes," the hooded man replied.
"And not for conquest."
"For survival, for humanity." The colony's sensors detected alien fleets approaching again. This time they brought larger ships, war machines built to crush colonies. But as they neared, the crown pulsed and their weapons faltered. Systems misfired. Engines struggled. Even the aliens' own computers seemed to resist their commands. Humanity had awakened in a way the galaxy had never seen. In the center of the docking bay, Luma raised her small hand. The crown glowed brighter, sending a pulse through the entire colony. Humans froze briefly, then moved with incredible speed and precision. Ships rose from hidden bays, shields activated, and weapons powered up automatically. It was not just defense. It was preparation. Humanity was ready. Iran stepped closer, his voice trembling. "Do you think they understand what she is doing?"
"They understand fear," the hooded man said.
"But they cannot fight what they cannot control. And she cannot be controlled." Luma walked through the center of the docking bay, small and unassuming, yet her presence filled the entire space. She did not speak, but humans worked in perfect coordination, following the subtle rhythms of her crown. Machines that had not moved in centuries roared to life. Energy flowed through channels long hidden. Grey Hollow was no longer a simple colony. It had become a living fortress, alive and aware. Outside, alien fleets approached cautiously, trying to probe for weaknesses. One commander sent a warning. "Do not fire until we understand. The humans are connected to something beyond comprehension. That child, she is more than a leader. She is a signal, a force."
Above, the Illuminati's faction struggled. Their containment plans failed.
Sensors could not penetrate the crown's shield. Attempts to communicate failed. One faction began considering that they might need to ally with her instead of stopping her. The other faction refused, believing any compromise would destroy their centuries of control. Inside the colony, Luma moved toward the control chamber. Panels lit up beneath her fingers, showing distant systems and hidden colonies. She did not know them all, yet she instinctively understood what each system could do. The crown connected her to long-forgotten networks, showing paths humans had not traveled for centuries. Iran watched her, feeling a mix of fear and pride.
"They will attack again," he said quietly.
"And next time, they may not retreat so easily."
"They cannot stop it," Luma said softly. "Not until they understand." The hooded man nodded.
"She is not commanding them. She is reminding them. That is the difference."
Outside, alien scouts fired again, attempting to destroy the colony before more humans could awaken.
But the crown pulsed, and the shots fizzled harmlessly. Shields glowed brighter, and hidden defenses moved into position automatically. Humanity was prepared. In the central chamber, Luma's small frame moved among panels and consoles. She did not speak, but her mind connected to every system. Every human in the colony felt it. Machines responded. Shields adjusted. Weapons powered up. The colony was alive, guided by her presence.
Iran stepped closer.
"This is incredible," he whispered.
All of this from a child.
"Yes," the hooded man said, "and this is only the beginning." The galaxy will not forget what is happening here. The alien fleets, sensing the colony's power, hesitated. They had never encountered humans like this. They had underestimated the strength and intelligence that had been hidden for centuries. One scout sent a final warning before retreating. "The humans are awakening. The crown, it is unstoppable." Back inside, Luma walked to the observation deck. She looked at the stars, calm and small, but filled with authority. The crown glowed softly, sending pulses far beyond Grey Hollow. Hidden colonies, forgotten ships, and ancient defense networks began responding. Humans across distant systems felt the awakening. It was subtle yet undeniable. Iran placed a hand on her shoulder. "You are doing something no one else could," he said. I am not doing it alone, she replied. They are waking themselves. I only remind them. The hooded man watched, knowing the galaxy had changed forever. Humanity was no longer hidden. They were no longer weak. And the tiny crowned girl at the heart of Grey Hollow had reminded them of their strength. Outside, alien fleets began to retreat, fearful of the growing human power, but they were not gone. They would return, and the Illuminati, split and powerless, would also act. Yet for the first time, humans were not afraid. They had remembered who they were, and at the heart of it all, Luma walked calmly through her colony, her crown glowing softly, signaling the next step in humanity's awakening. The stars themselves seemed to bend to a future that only she could see, and the galaxy would soon realize that humans, small and unassuming though they appeared, could shape the destiny of the stars. The pulse of the crown reached beyond Grey Hollow. Systems long thought lost activated. Hidden fleets stirred in distant space. Ancient weapons came alive, and somewhere far away, humans who had never known their potential began to awaken. It was only the beginning. Grey Hollow had grown louder with life. Every corridor, every deck, every hidden chamber hummed with energy. The humans of the colony moved with purpose, guided not by commands but by instinct. The crown on Luma's small head pulsed steadily, reaching out to the hidden systems of the colony, linking each person, each machine, each device into a web of awareness. The awakening was spreading beyond Grey Hollow, beyond the nearby colonies, and even beyond the limits the Illuminati had long set for human activity. Iran walked beside Luma, his eyes scanning the bustling corridors. They are stronger than I imagined, he said quietly. Even the adults, even those who doubted themselves, move as if they've trained their whole lives for this moment. They are remembering, Luma said softly. Her small voice carried calm authority. They have always known. I only remind them. The hooded man followed closely, noting each detail, each movement. She is not controlling them, he said. She is guiding them to themselves. That is what makes her untouchable. Not even the Illuminati can stop this. Above Grey Hollow, the alien fleets had returned. They came in force this time, larger than before, their ships black against the stars, their weapons humming with destructive power. Their commanders had learned from the earlier encounters. They knew they could not strike blindly. They moved with caution, probing the colony for weakness, trying to find some way to neutralize the crown's effect. They are coming, Iran whispered. Luma did not flinch. She walked to the observation deck, her eyes fixed on the approaching ships. The crown pulsed, sending waves of energy through the colony. The hidden systems of Grey Hollow responded instantly. Shields rose, weapons powered up, and ancient machinery stirred to life. Humans moved toward the docking bays and control rooms as if guided by some invisible rhythm, preparing for the coming battle. The hooded man observed silently. They will not understand until it is too late, he said. The crown is not just a tool. It is a connection to all humans, to all systems hidden across space. And now, the galaxy will see it. Inside the colony, Luma approached the central command console. Panels lit up under her fingers, revealing maps of distant systems, abandoned human colonies, and fleets hidden in secret star lanes. She had never studied these maps before, yet she understood them instinctively. She saw the positions of the alien fleets, their strength, and their weaknesses. The crown translated what her mind could not yet know, giving her the knowledge of a strategist born from memory rather than learning. Iran watched her closely. Can she really control all of this, he asked. She does not control it, the hooded man replied. She awakens it. She reminds humanity of what it can do. That is why the aliens are afraid. That is why the Illuminati cannot stop her. The alien fleet fired first. Massive energy beams shot toward the colony, enough to destroy it entirely. The humans scattered, taking cover behind machinery and reinforced walls. But the crown pulsed. The energy from the crown reached every shield, every hidden device, every long-forgotten weapon in Grey Hollow. The beams struck the outer defenses and fizzled harmlessly,
as if the very air rejected them. Outside, the alien commanders were stunned. "What is happening?" one shouted. "Our weapons are failing." "They are not failing," another replied. "They are being redirected." "The humans are not fighting. They are alive. The colony itself is alive." Inside, Luma moved calmly to the docking bays. Hidden ships rose from storage, engines humming as they came online. Humans boarded them instinctively, working in perfect coordination. Some had never flown ships before, yet their hands moved as if guided by memory, by instinct, by the crown. It was no longer just a defense, it was a mobilization. Humanity was waking in ways the galaxy had never seen. Iron looked at her, awe and fear mingling in his eyes. She is more than a child. She is the awakening itself.
"Yes," the hooded man said.
And now the galaxy will notice. There is no hiding from this. Luma raised her small hand. The crown pulsed, sending a wave of energy far beyond Grey Hollow. Hidden colonies, old fleets, even distant settlements of humans felt it. Humans began awakening in their own ways, discovering abilities, intelligence, and courage they had not known before. The signal was not just physical, it was mental, emotional, instinctive. Humans remembered who they were. Above, the Illuminati watched in horror. Their faction that had advocated following Luma now realized the full scale of the awakening. Their sensors could not penetrate the crown's shield. Their attempts to communicate failed. Every plan they had laid over centuries now crumbled. The child they had hoped to guide had awakened something far older, far greater than they had ever controlled. The alien fleets hesitated, uncertain of their next move. They could see the rising human fleet, the automated defenses, the hidden weapons systems coming alive. Fear rippled through their ranks. "We cannot destroy them," one commander whispered. "We must retreat." But retreat was not an option for all. Some factions fired again, trying to strike at Grey Hollow before the awakening spread further. The shots hit the outer defenses, but again, they failed. The Crown's pulse redirected energy, deactivated weapons, and even caused some alien engines to stall. The humans of Grey Hollow moved instinctively to repair and counterattack, as if guided by one mind. In the central chamber, Luma placed both hands on the main console. The crown flared with brilliant light, connecting her to every system in the colony. Hidden networks across nearby colonies began activating. Humans who had lived in isolation for decades felt a surge of energy, a memory of what they were capable of. Some ran to hidden weapons, some to old communication systems, some simply stood in awe, feeling themselves stronger than ever before.
Aaron stepped closer.
"They will come again," he said, "and this time more of them will arrive. The aliens, they will not give up." "They cannot stop it," Luma said simply. "Not until they understand." The hooded man nodded. "She does not need to fight. She only needs to awaken. That is her power. That is what terrifies everyone else." Outside, alien fleets began to regroup, but even they sensed the growing human strength. The Crown's pulse reached farther than anyone imagined, touching hidden fleets, long-abandoned weapons and systems humans had never used in centuries. The galaxy had been asleep, and now humanity was awake. Inside, Luma walked to the observation deck and looked at the stars. Her small figure seemed fragile against the vastness of space, yet her presence was enormous. Every human in Grey Hollow moved as one, guided by the Crown's energy, connected to each other in a way that defied explanation. The colony itself had become a living, breathing entity, ready to respond to any threat. Aaron placed a hand on her shoulder. "You are doing something no one else could," he said.
"I am not doing it alone," she replied. "They awaken themselves."
"I only remind them," the hooded man observed the pulse spreading through the colony and beyond. "The galaxy will learn quickly," he said. "Humanity does not need rulers. Humanity only needs itself." The alien fleets began to retreat, though some ships lingered at a distance, hesitant to return. The Illuminati's factions remained divided, unable to act. Humanity had remembered its strength. Humans across distant systems were waking, uniting without knowing it. Hidden fleets stirred, ancient weapons powered up, and long-lost systems came online. Luma walked calmly through the corridors of Grey Hollow, her crown glowing softly. She did not speak to anyone, yet her presence filled every room, every person, every system. The awakening had reached a scale that no one could stop. Iran looked at her, awe and fear in his eyes. "The galaxy will never be the same," he whispered.
"No," Luma replied softly.
"And humans will not forget themselves again."
The pulse of the crown extended far beyond Grey Hollow. Systems across the stars began to respond.
Hidden fleets moved. Long-abandoned colonies stirred. Humanity, once scattered and weak, was waking to its true strength. It was only the beginning. The galaxy had never been so tense. The pulse of Luma's crown spread far beyond Grey Hollow, reaching hidden fleets, abandoned colonies, and distant human settlements. Everywhere it went, humans awoke, remembering strength, courage, and unity. The colonies that had been forgotten stirred with activity. Ancient ships, long dormant in hidden bays, powered up. Long-lost weapon systems hummed to life. Humanity had become a network, connected not by command but by instinct and memory.
Iran followed Luma through the corridors of Grey Hollow, awed and fearful.
"It is incredible," he whispered. "Every person, every system, all responding to her."
"She does not control them,"
the hooded man said quietly.
"She only reminds them who they are.
That is the difference. That is why the aliens and the Illuminati cannot touch her." Outside, alien fleets had gathered in numbers never before seen near Grey Hollow. They came with warships bigger than entire human cities, armed with weapons designed to crush planets. Their scouts approached cautiously, but the pulse of the crown reached them first. Sensors failed, engines stalled, and weapons misfired. The alien commanders were terrified.
"We cannot strike," one hissed.
"They are alive, not just the humans, but the colony, the systems, even the air itself. It is impossible."
"We have no choice," another replied. "We must try. Destroy the crown, destroy the child, or humanity will take the stars." Inside Grey Hollow, Luma walked calmly to the central hub.
The crown glowed brighter than ever, pulsing with energy that linked every human, every machine, and every system in the colony. She placed her small hands on the main console, and the hidden fleets far beyond Grey Hollow stirred. Humans across distant colonies felt it. They moved instinctively, gathering ships, repairing ancient weapons, and connecting networks as if guided by one mind.
Iran could not hide his amazement. "All of this from one child?"
"Yes," the hooded man said softly. "She awakens what is already there. She reminds humans of their power. That is all."
Outside, the alien fleets fired.
Massive energy beams tore through space, aiming at Grey Hollow. But the colony was ready. Shields flared to life, powered not by any single machine but by the network of awakened systems. The beams struck the shields and fizzled harmlessly. Automated defenses moved into position. Ancient weapons, some centuries old, aimed themselves and fired in perfect coordination, disabling alien engines and targeting systems.
"The aliens panicked. It is impossible," one commander shouted. "Every attack fails. Every weapon fails."
"They are awake," another replied. "The crown, it is more than a weapon. It is the awakening itself."
Inside the colony, Luma walked through the docking bays.
Ships rose from hidden bays, engines roaring as humans boarded them instinctively. Some had never flown before, yet their hands moved perfectly, as if memory itself guided them. The crown connected all of them, linking their instincts, their thoughts, and their courage.
Iran ran beside her, trying to keep up. "This is a fleet," he exclaimed.
"A real fleet, ready to fight. Yes," the hooded man said, "but it fights itself."
It fights because humans remember who they are, not because of orders, not because of fear, not because of power,
but because it is in them. The alien fleets hesitated.
Some began retreating, fearful of the power they could not understand. Others fired again, desperate to break through. But every shot failed. Shields held. Weapons redirected. Engines stalled. Even the air seemed to resist them. Humanity, awakened by a child with a simple crown, could not be defeated by force alone. In the central chamber, Luma placed both hands on the main console. The crown pulsed with incredible energy, sending waves across the colony and into the stars beyond. Hidden colonies, long-lost human fleets, and distant settlements felt the pulse. Humans everywhere awoke, remembering courage, strength, and unity. Ships powered up, systems activated. Weapons came online. Humanity was rising as one. Irin looked at her in awe. "The galaxy cannot fight this," he said softly.
"They will try," the hooded man replied. "They always do."
"But they cannot stop it." The first wave of alien attackers reached Grey Hollow. Massive warships hovered near the outer defenses, firing energy beams meant to destroy the colony. But the pulse of the crown reached them before the shots arrived. Weapons misfired. Engines stalled. Energy shields flared. Every strike failed. Human ships moved instinctively, disabling alien engines and firing with precision the aliens could not anticipate.
The aliens panicked. "This is impossible," one commander shouted.
"Our weapons, our fleets, they are useless." "They are remembering themselves," another whispered. "The humans, they are alive in a way we cannot fight." Inside Grey Hollow, humans moved as one. Engineers repaired ships mid-flight. Soldiers armed themselves instinctively. Children, who had never held weapons, operated machinery with precision. The crown's pulse connected them all, guiding every movement, every thought, every action. The awakening was complete. Humanity acted as one organism, not for conquest, not for power, but for survival and for recognition of its own strength. Luma raised her hand. The crown glowed brighter, sending a pulse that reached every corner of the galaxy. Humans far beyond Grey Hollow felt it. Hidden fleets and ancient weapons powered up. Colonies long thought abandoned stirred. Humanity was awake, fully, and no force could stop it. Irin watched, tears in his eyes. She has done what no army, no empire, no council could ever do. She has united humanity without speaking a word.
"Yes," the hooded man said.
She awakens. That is all she does. And now the galaxy will remember humans. The alien fleets launched one final attack, desperate and furious. Energy beams tore through space toward Grey Hollow, but the crown pulsed again, brighter than ever. Shields flared. Automated defenses targeted alien engines, weapons misfired, and fleets fell silent. Humans moved instinctively, counterattacking with perfect coordination. The alien fleets faltered, then broke formation, retreating into the shadows of space. Above Grey Hollow, the Illuminati watched helplessly. Their centuries of control had failed. The crown could not be captured, could not be destroyed, and could not be controlled. Luma had awakened humanity. Humans across the galaxy were no longer weak, divided, or afraid. The age of shadows was over. Inside the colony, Luma walked calmly through the halls. She did not speak. She did not command. Her presence alone guided every person, every system, every machine. The crown pulsed softly, signaling the awakening to continue beyond Grey Hollow, into distant stars, into every hidden colony, into every human mind.
Irin followed her, awed beyond words.
"What happens now?" he whispered. "Now," Luma said softly, "they remember. And humans will not forget themselves again." The hooded man nodded. "The galaxy will never be the same. The aliens will retreat. The Illuminati will fall silent. Humanity will rise not because of war, but because they remembered who they are." The pulse of the crown spread farther, touching systems and fleets no one had seen in centuries. Humans in distant stars stirred, awakened by instinct and memory. Hidden weapons powered up. Ancient colonies came alive. Ships long lost in deep space rose from their resting places. Humanity was waking fully, and no force could stop it. Outside, alien fleets retreated in confusion and fear. The Illuminati's factions could only watch helplessly. Humanity was alive in a way they could not understand, and they knew it. Inside Grey Hollow, Luma moved to the observation deck. She looked at the stars, calm and small, yet commanding. Her crown glowed softly, signaling the awakening to continue. Humans in the colony worked and moved instinctively, preparing for the next stage of the galaxy. They were awake, aware, and ready. Yeren placed a hand on her shoulder. "You did it," he said quietly. "You reminded them. Humanity is awake."
I did nothing, Luma said softly.
They remembered themselves. I only showed the way. The hooded man looked out at the stars, now filled with humans awakening across distant colonies. "The galaxy will remember this day," he said. Not because of battles or victories, but because a child reminded humanity who they are. Luma's small figure stood against the lights of Grey Hollow. Her crown pulsed softly, sending waves of awakening across the stars. Humans everywhere felt it. The fleet powered up, ancient weapons prepared, hidden colonies stirred. The galaxy had changed forever. The aliens had retreated. The Illuminati had failed. Humanity had awakened fully, and the tiny crowned girl at the center of Grey Hollow had reminded them of their strength, their courage, and their unity. It was the beginning of a new era. The stars themselves seemed to shift in recognition. The galaxy had remembered humans, and humans, guided by one small girl, would never be ignored again. The crown pulsed softly, calm and steady. Humanity was awake. The galaxy would never forget.